This is a story of senior citizens versus a city council that wants their property. And this predatory city government is determined to pay as little as possible for it. This is Monarch Pines Mobile Home Park in Pacific Grove on California's Monterey Peninsula. The park has been here for nearly 6 decades. At one time, this was the site of an old railroad junction before the rails were abandoned, then removed, and the land purchased by an investor. In 1989, residents bought the land and set up a homeowners association. Members had to be at least 55 years of age. The rules require residents to maintain their homes and contribute to the upkeep of the park. Inhabitants pay for their own water, utilities, garbage collection, and street maintenance. It's a good deal for the city. Residents pay property and sales taxes and costs the city almost nothing. There's no getting around it. These aren't estates. No one here has the wealth to live in multi-million-dollar mansions, as do several city council members, none of whom, by the way, live in the park. But Pines residents enjoy their friendships with folks at nearby low-income housing and get meals at the nearby senior center. For people with limited means, it's not a bad situation, and we think it's worth fighting for. What would anger an average citizen about a city government? Incompetence? Malfeasance? Self-dealing? Corruption? Of course. How about a city council that thinks the law doesn't apply to it? That those old concepts of equal protection and due process are just nice words and not commitments, and assumes the people are too ignorant to notice. As anyone who's ever bought a home knows, a title search is done to assure the property involved can legally and completely be owned by the people doing the purchase. That has been done literally hundreds of times for the 103 homes in Monarch Pines. Whether buying the residence outright or financing a purchase, would-be owners need to be certain they can own their share of the park. According to the City of Pacific Grove, every title search involving current park residents has been an error. City staff and council members maintain that the acreage is incorrectly labeled on municipal maps and should be rezoned to open space, essentially land with no improvements or homes present. Since 2015, the City Council has tried repeatedly to rezone as open space a 50-foot wide strip of land in the middle of the park. The city insists it has no designs on Monarch Pines property, but other statements contradict that claim. When asked by the media about the supposed error, the mayor claimed the city staff found this mistake on a 2013 map. But it wasn't on a 2013 map, or a 2016 map, or a 2019 map. Apparently, Pacific Grove claims that citizens can't read. Since shortly after World War II, every city zoning map available has listed the Monarch Pines site as either commercial or for mobile homes. Every single one. A lot can be said about senior citizens, but most of us can read. So, to make it seem to the public as if Monarch Pines residents wouldn't even miss the property, the mayor claims the matter just involves some road with fences on either side, not something folks use every day. Does this look to you like a fenced-off road? How about from here? Not from this angle either. So when the mayor says nothing would change for our property, we're just a little skeptical. We're willing to wager the council members would pay close attention if this road was through one of their million-dollar properties. And in case you'd like to follow the city council's actions, good luck. Even in the digital age, with instantaneous communications and the ability to quickly upload to the internet huge files, the council is 3 months behind letting the public see what it's been doing. We don't so much care about what's on its agenda as what it's doing when citizens are locked out of public forums. Most of us aren't into conspiracies, but as attorneys have observed, there's no need to fix some paperwork mistake unless the city had designs other than just rectifying some error. Real estate observers agree this campaign has all the earmarks of a plan to build a hotel or shopping complex. Why might a city council be so hungry for hotel tax revenue? It could be because it doesn't do a very competent job of handling taxpayer money. Coincidentally, if you believe in those things, the same year the city council started one of its many efforts to seize Pines property, it announced a dramatic plan to develop the American Tin Cannery, a former fish canning plant, into a large hotel and conference center. It would replace a poorly used outlet mall with an operation designed to raise millions in occupancy fees for the city. But when the venture collapsed 2 years later, the embarrassments for the city began. First, the city had to admit it lost $100,000 in fees it was supposed to have collected from project investors, claiming it couldn't really track responsibility for the failure. Even the Monterey County Civil Grand Jury investigated the matter and faulted the city for bad management, sloppy record keeping, and excessive secrecy during the plan. At one point, it noted city council members weren't even aware one reimbursement agreement with developers had been superseded by another. To cap off the fiasco, the council then hired a law firm of its own choosing to investigate itself, and perhaps not surprisingly, the firm found no illegalities in the city's work, and it only cost taxpayers another $31,000 for that study. So one can see how, and why, the Pacific Grove City Council needs to raise money. It can't even guarantee it will properly handle the funds it has. The problem for the city is that to purchase Monarch Pines outright, under eminent domain laws, Pacific Grove would be liable for 3 or 4 times its annual budget. What better way to get around that constraint than to drive down the value of the land involved? This is the area in question. With the change enacted, Pacific Grove could transform the area to just bare dirt and grass. All of these homes would either be gone or have bare ground within a few feet of their front doors. With pavement bulldozed, not a single dwelling would have vehicle access. Residents in wheelchairs would be trapped at home. Repair companies could not drive to a member's house. Simply getting prescriptions delivered would be impossible. Fire and EMS crews would have no path to render aid. Homes that took decades to purchase, lovingly maintained for years, would be close to worthless. Retirees for whom this is the only affordable housing they can find would have to abandon their properties or hope to relocate them. Once moved, homes seniors counted on to finance assisted living in their final years would be worth a fraction of their real value. At that point, the city will be able to seize the park for pennies on the dollar, avoiding paying fair market value. How much would you pay for a $500,000 home 100 yards from the beach? Now, how much would you pay for that same home if you couldn't drive to near your front door? Seniors are often patient, but the final straw was in spring 2020. After months of silence on the matter, the City Council put the rezoning on its agenda with only a couple of days' notice, as if it were urgent. The emergency? Acting while seniors were quarantined in their homes during the coronavirus outbreak, ensuring no ugly scenes of retirees protesting in person. Only because of a glitch in the phone-in system for public questions did the council postpone the assault to a later date. As of summer 2020, the homeowners have been forced to sue the City Council to compel it to obey the written law. But public jurisdictions can spend comparatively unlimited sums in court, while the Monarch Pines folks are mostly on fixed budgets. As of now, the city has only agreed to a 6-week reprieve before it considers itself free to start chasing homeowners off the land. As one resident put it, we need help, and we need it now. To the Pacific Grove City Council, we're just an irritant, an obstacle to its plans. But there are real people to be pushed out on the streets. Before the council scatters Monarch Pines homeowners like last year's leaves, let's hear from some of them.
This is my mom, Claire. She's 95 years old and has lived at Monarch Pines for 25 years. She and my dad moved from Sacramento in 1995. My mom has enjoyed her senior years without any worry of mortgage or rent payments and has enjoyed her lifestyle here. The City of Pacific Grove has recently sought to seize 50-foot wide section that runs right through the middle of Monarch Pines. They would cause my mom's home to be demolished and 40 other homes. To displace seniors and demolish their homes is a travesty. Is the City of Pacific Grove this ignorant that they think they can pull this off? Seniors really aren't stupid and they are on the ready to protect their homes. Back off. The seniors here enjoy their lifestyle and enjoy their homes, and they are the rightful owners of Monarch Pines.
Hi, We're Jack and Better Irvine. We had been about 20 years working overseas, 3 weeks after we were married, 67 years ago. We were teaching English first in Afghanistan, and then back out to Iran, and then to Iraq. And so life was bouncing around, and finally we ended up in Oakland in 1960. And I got a job with teaching English and being a counselor for the foreign-born at Merritt Community College. After 20 years, I retired, found that it was God's will we come here these 21 years, and it's been great. I got involved with the aquarium and have been there for 10 years as a volunteer. Our children, who are scattered around the state, enjoy coming and making brief visits and going to the aquarium. And it's all part of a fuller picture that is probably coming close to an end, being the age we are. And so we just soon stay here.
And Jack got involved in some art classes. Well, I did too, to a degree, but not like he did. And it's a nice, handy place for a senior person to be.
We're certainly not ready to move, nor capable of moving, actually.
Wayne Sharrow, and I have lived in the park almost 30 years. And what people should know about this park, it's a very nice park. You always have good neighbors. What would happen if the park would close, or where I would go, I have no idea. I did about 30,000 brick here in the park, plus about 8 cement driveways. And I did some carpentry work, and of course, before I moved in at my house, I did a lot of construction, and I built a deck in the back too. I made a lot of friends since I've been here. Now they have moved about 40 new homes since I've been in here. Oh, it'd be difficult, I know, especially at my age. I don't know. I met a lot of friends.
Hi, my name is Mickey. I've lived in the park for 3 years, but I've lived in Pacific Grove since 1972. My grandmother built a house on Mermaid, which is just like 3 houses that way. It was a beautiful little town, and I always wanted to live here. When I lived on Mermaid, I had a great little house and it faced the ocean. It was wonderful. But I always thought if I ever had to leave that house, I would want to live in this park. Every penny I have is invested here. This has been a great place to live. Our neighbors are wonderful. During this crisis thing, everybody's taking care. We all know that we're okay. People come out at night and check each other, make sure everybody's okay. If you need anything, there's always someone to help. It's like a little loving family. If this park closed, I don't know what I would do. When I was younger, we had council people and mayors that really took care of us, that cared about what happened to the seniors and to the young people and everybody. And recently that hasn't been so prevalent, and we need to have our council people and our mayor think more about what they're doing to us. We have to go through this every few years. They're trying to take our park away from us, and there's no reason for it. It's just silly. Maybe it's a money grab. I don't know what it is, but it needs to stop. and not have the stress of having to worry about their home losing value. Because this is, if we have to go to assisted living, we have to sell our homes. And if they're worthless, we're stuck. But it's a beautiful place to live. I love it. The neighbors are wonderful. The area is beautiful. It's clean. It's safe. It's heaven.
Hi, I'm Veronica, and I came to Monarch Pines 4 years ago to live with my aunt as a companion and caregiver. She had been a resident for 30 years at that time. She quickly introduced me to fellow residents, which helped me assimilate into my new life. I found the residents of Monarch Pines very welcoming and helpful. They are also a group of most interesting people coming from a wide variety of professional backgrounds. We are almost all retirees, teachers, military, doctors, landscapers, a realtor, a minister, an Olympic marathoner, a sheriff, a ballerina, and a postman. My aunt came to Monarch Pines in 1988, so that she was here before the land was purchased in 1989. We own our homes and we are not a burden on the city. We shop locally and pay our taxes. Many of us volunteer at Sally Griffin, Food Bank, Meals on Wheels, and other organizations. So, why is the city trying to victimize us?
My name is Steve. I am a 75-year-old widower who has lived in the Monarch Pines Park for over 7 years. I have no desire to leave our home in Monarch Pines. It's a wonderful place to live, filled with delightful people coming from many varied and fascinating backgrounds. It provides affordable senior housing and gives access to all of the amenities that Pacific Grove offers. The city of Pacific Grove has been harassing us for several years with its desire to usurp the properties of 103 senior families. The question I have for the City Council of Pacific Grove is this: what earthly reason, other than possibly being in a developer's pocket, could you have for wanting to destroy my home? It seems that America's last hometown has become very unfriendly to the elderly.
My name is Pasha and I live here at Monarch Pines. I love living here. Monarch Pines means a lot to me because it's taken me about 9 years to wind up here. I don't know where I'd go. I love it because we can walk to and from Pacific Grove, and it has just everything we need, like a hometown would. So I'm really beside myself with worry about whether or not we're going to be able to stay here. I'm an elder in the community. I support this community, and I believe the community should support me as well.
But not only that, we earned our money elsewhere, we retired here, and we spend the fruits of our labour in Pacific Grove here. This is a huge financial benefit to the local community. I don't understand why the council is continuing to push this idea that we should somehow, some of this land should become open space. It doesn't make any sense at all unless they have the intention to drive us out of here and use the land for some other purpose. But what I do know is that there's a significant number of people, old folks within this community, who can't sleep at night because they're worried that the council is going to throw them out on the streets. They've put everything they have, their whole lives, to retire here, and they can't sleep. This is elder abuse. There's no question about that. This is elder abuse. There is no real reason for the council to behave in this manner unless they have some nefarious purpose. It just doesn't make sense unless there's a degree of corruption here. And I cannot understand why this elder abuse continues like this. It's absolutely scandalous. Scandalous indeed. And it's cruel. It's cruel and nasty and awful. And
And so we almost end where we started. In the coming months, the Pacific Grove City Council members will try to scoop up at a fearsome discount 10 acres of property because they can. They'll dangle impressive hotel views before the public. They'll say it's about being an attractive tourist destination. When everything else fails, they'll even claim it's about jobs. Presumably jobs for people for whom the city already has done too little about affordable housing, except to try to get rid of it. Most of you watching this have done so online. Before you leave your computer, you can do what many people would, which is nothing. But if affordable housing, basic fairness, and the rule of law strike you as important, you can learn more about this situation, you can tell others what you have seen, and you can contact elected officials. And while it may not seem like your fight now, someday in the future, it very well could be.